Hi, boys and girls. We're going to continue with our mystery, but first, let's review our I. Remember, short I makes the I sound, blink, crisp, and then we talked about 3 different ways to make the long I sound. I consonant E, slice, pride, glide. Remember, we have I consonant E, I consonant E, I consonant E. We have just plain Y, cry, fly, try. And then we have IGH, high, fight, height, and flight. All right, let's talk about our vocabulary words. Okay, we talked about mystery, which is something puzzling that has to be solved, has to be figured out. Custom, we talked about the way people have different ways of celebrating things. They have different customs. We talked about the fact that we take our hat off to say the Pledge of Allegiance. It's a custom in Japan to take your shoes off when you enter the house. All right, and the next word is culture. And culture is the way a group of people in a country do something. For instance, the culture in America would be very different than the culture from, say, Japan. And one of the things that you'll learn as you grow older is you'll learn about the different cultures of other people. But as we're going to see, one of our characters today has a little bit of a different culture. All right, we're going to continue with The Kidnapped King by Ron Roy, Chapter 2. Dink went back to class and handed a note to Mrs. Eagle. Since school was almost out, Mr. Dillon had given him permission to leave early. Dink filled his book bag, then whispered what was going on to Josh and Ruth Rose. Dink's mother drove him and Sammy home to Woody Street. Sammy was quiet in the car. He kept turning around and looking out the rear window. Mrs. Clinker said she'd bring your luggage over in a little while, Dink's mother told Sammy. Dink will help you get settled in, and I'll make you both a snack. Thank you very much, Mrs. Duncan, Sammy said as Dink's mom pulled into the driveway on Woody Street. Dink climbed out the car with his book bag clunking against his shoulders. Your room is next to mine, he told Sammy, leading the way upstairs. Dink took Sammy into the guest room. There was a bed, a dresser, and a braided rug on the floor. A reading lamp stood on the table next to the bed. Sammy looked at the room quietly. This is very nice, he said. Come on, I'll show you my room, Dink said. He and Sammy passed through the bathroom. On the other side was Dink's bedroom. So they have what you call a Jack and Jill bathroom. The 2 bedrooms are connected by the bathroom in between. As soon as Dink stepped into his room, Loretta began squeaking and running around in her cage. What is that? Sammy shouted, hiding behind Dink. Just my guinea pig, Dink said. Loretta's real friendly. You want to hold her? I am allergic to her, Sammy said, peering into the cage. Don't let it out. Okay, I won't, Dink said. Dink, his mother called from downstairs. Are you and Sammy ready for a snack? Are you hungry, Dink asked Sammy. Sammy wrinkled his nose. What are we having? Dink pretended to think, then he said, just the usual. Rat's ears on crackers. Sammy stared at Dink. You are joking? Yeah, I'm joking, Dink said. Come on downstairs. Dink's mother put a plate of peanut butter cookies and a quart of milk on the counter. Sammy inspected the cookies, then selected one. You're not allergic to cookies, are you? Dink asked. Sammy shook his head and took a small bite. The doorbell rang, and Dink opened the door. Josh and Ruth Rose stood on the steps. Pal, Josh's basset hound, sat at their feet. We came to see if you and Sammy want to come out and play, Ruth Rose said. She held a purple Nerf football in her hand. The ball matched her purple jeans and sweatshirt. Hi, guys, come on in, Dink said. Josh made a beeline for the plate of cookies. Pal padded along behind him. His long pink tongue hung out of his mouth. Sammy jumped onto a chair. Keep it away, he yelled, I'm allergic. Dink's mother put her hand on Sammy's shoulder. It's okay, Sammy. Josh, can Pal wait on the porch? Sure, Mrs. D. Come on, boy, Josh said as he led Pal out of the room. Help yourselves, kids, Dink's mom said, pouring 4 glasses of milk. Josh came back and grabbed 2 cookies. Why are you wearing a bathrobe? He asked Sammy. It is what we wear in my country, Sammy said, sipping his milk. I think it's beautiful, Ruth Rose said. I wish I had one. And here's a picture of all the kids in the kitchen. You see the plate of cookies, and you see Pal, and you see Sammy looks pretty freaked out, right? Okay, let's keep going. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Joan Clinker, Sammy's tutor. She had come in a taxi with Sammy's suitcases. Dink helped the driver carry them into the hallway. "Hi, Sammy," she said. "How do you like this house?" "There are animals here," Sammy said. "I'm allergic, you know." "I'm afraid we have a guinea pig," Dink's mother said. "Yes, and I saw the dog on the porch," Joan Clinker said. "I hope Sammy's allergies won't be too much trouble." All right, I'm going to stop here. The allergies are mentioned a lot. They seem kind of serious. Since this is a mystery, we have to look for things that might be important. So I think that Sammy's allergies are going to be important somehow during the story, okay? Because the author has mentioned them several times. Dink's mother smiled. "I'm sure we'll make out fine," she said. "Dink, why don't you kids take Sammy's luggage up to his room before you go out to play?" "May I come too?" Joan Clinker asked. "I'd like to look at the room where Sammy will stay. Do you mind?" "Not at all. Dink will show you the way." Dink and Josh lugged the suitcases up the stairs, then plopped them down on Sammy's bed. Ruth Rose followed with Sammy and his tutor right behind. Joan Clinker walked around the room. She inspected the windows and tested the locks. She rattled the handles on all the doors to the bathroom and the hallway. "Do these doors have locks?" she asked Dink. Yeah, but we never use them," he answered. "Is there a nightlight?" she asked. Dink pointed to a small blue light sticking out from a wall socket. Joan Clinker nodded. "I guess this will do," she said. "Now, may I see Sammy's bathroom?" Dink showed Joan the bathroom he and Sammy would share. The woman checked out everything in the bathroom, then peered into Dink's room on the other side. "Who sleeps in here?" she asked. "Me," Dink said. "My parents' room is downstairs." "Do they have their own bathroom down there?" Joan asked. Dink nodded as they walked back into Sammy's room. Joan Clinker smiled at Dink. "This will be perfect," she said. She patted Sammy on the head. "I'll see you later, okay?" Sammy looked at her nervously. "Where are you going?" "To my hotel room," Joan said. "But I'll come back after dinner for your French lesson." She took one more look around Sammy's room and then left. "Do you play Nerf ball in your country?" Ruth Rose asked Sammy. Sammy shook his head. "What is Nerf?" "This," Josh said, tossing the foam ball to Sammy. It bounced off him and fell to the floor. Do you want to change?" Dink asked Sammy. Sammy stared at his suitcase. "Your mother said she'd unpack for me," he said. "She will," Dink said, "but for now you can wear some of my stuff. Come on in my room." The four kids trooped through the bathroom and into Dink's room. Loretta began running around in her cage. Dink found a pair of sweatpants and a sweatshirt in his closet. "These should fit," he told Sammy. Sammy looked at the clothes but didn't take them from Dink. "Who is going to dress me?" he asked. All right. Okay, so who is going to dress me? Obviously, he's from another country. He's royalty. He's used to having things done for him. So definitely he's coming from a different culture than like us, like you American kids, right? Because Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose, they seem a lot like you guys. His tutor, I guess it's her job to keep Sammy safe because she was really interested in what what Sammy's room looked like, and the bathroom he shared with Dink, and where Dink's parents slept, and if there was a nightlight. It seemed like she was very curious about making sure he stayed safe. And again, we're going to pay careful attention to these allergies because in a mystery, we're always looking for things that the author thinks important. All right, we'll read chapter 3 tomorrow. Thanks for listening.